All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Sport webinar. Today's date is August 13th, 2018. This is a Monday night webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Trading with Retrace and Overall Trend. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk, therefore there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we might have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? If not, we'll go ahead and get started. By the way, just real quick for some people that have come in new in the last week, and everybody, welcome on that, of course. And bear with me a second. I'm going to show you. We send this in the email and everything, but you basically got to still know, where everything is, and that's what I want to show you here real quick, is how to get to this. Let's go ahead and go to my member login right here. All right. Your member login will always say welcome and then your first name, because that's the way it's entered into our system. And be sure to know, if you're new, that we've got our trading room links always right here on the website, just in case you can't find your email. This is the webinar. This was last Saturday. I need to take that one off, actually. This is tonight's webinar, and this is Thursday's webinar this week. And, of course, we've got the little books that you can click on and read. It's a little quick start manual, about a 71-page comprehensive trading manual. And then some little JPEGs that you can look at for how we take certain object trader trades. And really important is this ebook right here and the Phantom Trades Explained. Okay, and then of course any of these that are in red are good training materials. And then of course we also keep up with our latest webinars. This is last Saturday's webinar, which is our last one that we did. That was mine on Saturday. Okay, so if anybody has questions on that, just let me know. All right, without further ado, let's look at a chart. And what I want everybody to tell me is, by what I'm saying right now, trading with retrace, and what was the next part? The overall trend, right? So what is the overall trend on this chart right now? And what kind of a trade would you be looking for until certain things were met? Okay, let's go ahead and go over a little bit of where the identified swings are again. Okay, let's just do that just real quick. An identified swing, when you have a high, by the way, this is on shorts, lower high on shorts, and that's where our little identified swing is going to be. And on longs, it'll be higher lows, of course. But this is basically an identified swing only to me if, you get a retrace and you roll over and you get at least, I like to have 10 ticks. That one there is not quite 10. That's what, 7? Okay, so I'll even look at a different one just to make sure. Here's another swing, and it comes down a little bit more below this swing, because that's the same top. So that's pretty much your 10 ticks. So I would say that this swing is actually identified at that time. Okay. Now, when you get this one, and then this one, you'll notice that you also have, at least 10 ticks. See, that's 12 ticks. So this swing is also identified right here. Okay, this one here, pardon me, that's the one we're looking at right now. All right, now, is this one identified? Clearly, you can see that it is, right? So if this dropped from here at 1221 all the way down to 1218.90, that is definitely an identified swing, right? Okay, now where it gets a little bit more complex is when they start going sideways like this, okay? But I always look at my previous identified swing until they get out of this choppy stuff, because what'll happen, you'll get like a double bottom. This is not an identified swing. This is not actually, in my opinion, an identified swing, because you didn't get, at least those 10 ticks. 12.1810 to 12.1887. So my identified swing is still up here. Everybody see that? Now, if I was going to go up on this trade at all, I would be looking for a break of this area, as of right now anyway, okay? And then some kind of a pullback and kiss. And that'd more than likely be taking out Phantom and everything else if that happened. Everybody see how you identify those? Now, you can consider it identified with even less if you want. Like, for instance, swing, low, takes it out down here by, roughly 7 ticks. Could this be an identified swing? If you want to call it that, you certainly can, but I'd give them a little leeway. In other words, if you were going to go long on this one, I would want it to break, pull back and kiss, and then take off. Okay? Now, you can go anywhere you want with your identified swing, 7 ticks or 10. I find that 10 is actually pretty good because if they're going to break a previous low, they need to break it by at least 10 ticks, or I don't even consider it a swing. But, if you are considering like 7 ticks or so a swing, then that's fine too. Especially on your smaller lightning, okay? So everybody agrees with us that you're basically looking for a short, right? Now, this is actually yesterday when the market actually opened at 5 p.m. Central Time, okay? So, could this have just blown up and kept on going? Yes, it could. But, we're actually more retracement traders, so we're actually looking for, like a swing kiss, very possibly even as high as this. But let's go to the actual chart and see what it looks like, and we'll be able to tell a lot more than even this because we've got the mid band on it and we've got the different things that we look at. So let's look at a chart. Okay, here it is right here, okay? Now, this is actually at the start of the new market as of yesterday, okay? And I've got mine set right now at just 450, okay? So one thing you want to do is you want to be careful if you're going to actually go ahead and like buy these, to give an example, like right at 5 p.m. or something like that. Now, you can do that, but I'd put a pretty tight stop on it. For instance, if you wanted to turn on Object Trader with a bar close to the upside and take a long trade, could you possibly get 10 ticks? I do it all the time, but again, you've got to be careful because it's actually a fairly aggressive trade. The best way to do on this would be obviously, we drew on our charts. We know we've got a swing way up here. This is like a double bottom area here. So this is not an identified swing because it hadn't taken out the lows, right? This is like maybe a little bit more identified swing right here. So I draw a line on it, like so. All right, and anything to do with this right here, I'd be looking for a rollover type of a short, okay? Now, does that mean that you can't, if you want to, at the open, take some of these trades? Because Object Trader will do some pretty decent little trades if you just turn on like bar close, or this one's, I wouldn't do a stealth because it would be way up in here. I wouldn't do a stealth on this one. But if it was to do a little, power meter that you can get into a trade. But the best way to do it is actually just wait for the actual trade to set up and stay with the overall trend, okay? Because too many people will end up, for instance, this is a little triple bottom, yes, okay? So you kind of expect it to come up and at least kiss here and possibly even here and possibly even here where that swing is. And that does give you reason to actually do something like that. But basically, you're going to want to go with the trend. Let's see, Lewis saying, can you show us, Gary? On which one, Lewis? Well, I'm going to show it on Object Trader. We'll go ahead and get Object Trader up. And let's see, I think I've got it set for 5. We'll leave it at 5. That's fine. Okay, Object Trader, yeah, we'll show that. Okay. Now, what I would do personally, if I was going to actually go against the trend, I would do two charts. Because when this gets me 10 ticks, I'm going to want to be shorting this little puppy when it gets up in here and gets a rollover. You see what I mean? And if it shoots up and it comes back and kisses and we get a green background and everything, we'll be looking the other direction. But keep in mind that you can do this. You can actually turn on bar close, a couple of contracts with gold, put your stop fairly tight, just in case, and just try something at the open if you want. But I'd advise usually against it, simply because unless you put a fairly loose stop on it, you're going to get stopped out. Okay, that's kind of the way I see it anyway. Okay, so let's just do it. Tonight we're going to do it trading with retrace and overall trend. And we've already said that, our gold is actually looking for shorts, right? Because our identified swing is here and even here, right? Okay, so anywhere in this area, we're going to be looking for rollover type shorts, because if you look at like even 1222 there, that's just a phantom. See there? That's strictly just a phantom. All right, so I like to draw lines on my charts like y'all know I do in the room and everything. And we'll be looking for a trade like this. So let's just go ahead and start the thing. And by the way, I did take this actually long last night. After it opened for a few minutes, I didn't do it right off the bat because I didn't trust the fact that it could have popped up and then slammed it, and with two contracts, you can get down pretty quickly. There you go. All right. Now, notice that you popped up to mid-band here so far, right? Okay. Now, you're expecting this more than likely to at least come down into this area right here. Now, we already missed this, unfortunately, so we're not going to be able to get this one unless we go up a little higher and we get a little rollover, and I'll take a chance on it with, like, let's see if that bar rolled over. 12, 18, 30, 20. Yeah, we could take that. I'd go for probably 10 ticks, just simply because we don't have a lot of room from there. So truthfully, what I would do pretty much is, if this is actually like that and this is halfway through it right here, I'd probably just go ahead and short it. And the reason for that is because I like to look at a little range like this, and then I'll usually take a shot at it. I may have done that one wrong. We're going to find out here. Because like I said, I was actually long on this one from a little bit earlier down, but I'm going to see if this will actually roll over here. We'll kick it up a little bit. It's 502 is all. Feeling a little bit of heat on that one. See if we can get something on this. It looks like we're going to be okay. I'm going to put the stop right here just in case, because that was not my best entry at all. And I'll put exit on close just in case. We'll see if we can get 10 ticks. No, we're not. This is actually, I'm going to kill this. If this doesn't actually close down. Yeah, I'm going to close it. See how it's just coming right down to support right there? I'm not going to take a chance on this. We'll go for basically we flattened it though. See how we actually flattened? Now let's see if we can get lightning swing. We're going to try to go for something like this, and then we're going to go for this swing right here also that has not. That's basically our identified swing, remember? Okay, this is truly identified right here, and this one is identified by about 7 or 8 ticks. See if we can get this. Now remember, if you're going to trade against the trend, then what you want to do is you want to actually just try to do some scalping, things like that. Like I was mentioning yesterday, this is only about 10 minutes after, and I actually took a quick little long on this with a couple of contracts yesterday because I saw it making this higher low right here. And see, we're flat right now, but if you do that, you just want to go ahead and do it literally, and then just put your stop in underneath the swing. Okay, and let's speed it up just a little bit, and I would put it for 10 ticks, which is just right up here, and maybe even at predictor. Predictor's saying 11. Yeah, 10 or 11 ticks. I'd say 11. There we go. Okay, so we're down 20 bucks. Now we're up 20 bucks. You know, that's pretty much the way I traded it yesterday, just for a quick couple of $100. Okay. And one of the reasons I did that is because, this did do this higher low here, and this was green stealth 2 in a row. Okay. So I kind of trusted that it was going to actually go up and give me a little trade. Let's see if it did. I know it did because I got it last night, but I'll just speed it up just a little bit. It was about like that last night too. It was almost irritating to watch it. There we go. We got stopped out. Okay. Now notice that now you're down like $240 on here. Did we go the right way, everyone? Going against the trend? No, we didn't. Okay. Now, if you had gone from like down here and just gone for a few ticks, yes, you would have been okay. But if you're going to go against the trend, I would highly recommend not going against the trend unless you're going to scalp like five or six, 7 ticks tops, kind of like we do in the when we open the room at first thing in the morning. That's pretty much what we do there too, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and get ready to trade this, and we'll see if we can get a little retrace on it. Okay, let's see. This is 8:12. That was yesterday around 7:15 at night. Okay. How many of you traded this last night, by the way? Anybody? Would you go against the trend? That's what I was saying, Lewis. You really shouldn't. Let me show you the way you should take this trade. Let's go ahead and back it up just real quick. Let's back it up. Hopefully we don't mess up Object Trader. I'll go ahead and back it up and show you. Okay. What you're looking for when you're doing these retraces like this, okay, when you stay with the overall trend, you're going to find yourself doing a whole lot better. Because remember what we talked about earlier? Only if this took out this area right here, or even this area right here, would I be looking to take longs on this, and only if it really popped up pretty decently, pulled back pretty decently, and then took off pretty decently. Okay? Because otherwise you're going against the trend. Okay? Now, we've diagnosed this chart properly, and the best way to trade this is what? Well, we talked about it already. We're looking at shorts, right? We weren't looking for those longs. Okay? Now, if you got in right at the market when it opened, you could have gotten you a little popper trade, but you'd pretty much have to buy it like right off the bottom, to give an example, something like that. Okay? So let's see, it's 4 o'clock, 8:12, so we've got about 10 minutes before the open of the market. So let's do it the right way and show you how that you should really be doing this. All right, give it just a few minutes. I'll kick it up to about 10 times. That way it won't take very long at all. Yeah, because if you're going to buy it, you literally have to pretty much buy it, right about literally at that bottom. And remember I told you that I did like a bar close yesterday? That paid off. Let's see, what is the overall trend as long, for example? Well, long you'd be looking strictly, for either a small breakout out of consolidation or a pullback. But anytime you're looking at shorts, you're going to want to not chase a thrust. Okay? You're going to want some kind of a pullback. See, we like to look for mid-band, to give an example. Mid-band on a trade. Let's see. Okay. Everybody see that, where it just kissed that line right there? Now that's pretty much telling you that that's where you want to be looking to take this trade. Let's go ahead and bring this down just a little bit further, like so. And what would you be looking for instead? You would be looking for a box-in trade, right? Okay. Now, what if you had turned on bar close, though, at the open, like I said I did on yesterday when I got my couple of $100? It actually fired, if I remember right, on either this bar or this bar. Because this bar went down, this bar went up. So if you had it turned on long, it wouldn't have fired on that bar because it went down, that one went up, and that one went up. And it may have even been this bar that fired, I don't remember. But see, that's a $200 trade if you do it at the open, okay? But that's actually a little bit more aggressive trade, just thinking that maybe they'll break support. But what's your best trade? Your best trade is staying with the overall trend. Because like we were mentioning there, now that it's testing here, you basically want it to at least break above here, pull back, and kiss and take off if you're going to do anything as far as getting long. Let's go ahead and fast forward this just a little bit, and I'll show you. See, that's why what I was mentioning is you don't really want to go long around mid-band on a short type deal, because that's when you get your rollover. If you're going to ever go long, do like some of our traders do, where they just literally, pop out of this shadowed area right here and go ahead and take a long, and then they put a really tight stop on it. But that's aggressive trading. Okay. Let's see if we can get, based on power meter even, go ahead and do a short on power meter. We'll go ahead and just do, 2 will be fine. We'll just, power meter turns red, we'll take a short. Let's see, would you go against the trend if the overall trend, for example, is only if you were like at maybe an overbought situation, Lewis. But keep in mind, no matter what trade that you take, the smartest trades that you can take are with the overall trend, because when the market is moving, for instance, they're thrusting, they're retracing, they're thrusting, they're retracing. And if they don't, give you that shoot up like I'm looking at there, if it was to do it, then you don't really want to go long. What if this just barely breaks mid-band, to give an example? Would you want it long at all? No. And remember, this is not an identified swing. See the high, the low? This just barely took out this low over here by maybe 3 ticks. So that's not your identified swing. This is right here. Remember? So we'd be looking for a trade lower high than this if it's going to head down. This is all consolidation. And you can even turn on power meter, or you can even box it in. Okay. Now, if you were boxing it in, personally, I'd be looking for this little break right here, right now. That's the way we box them. Or we can even turn on power meter and let it do its own thing. Do you feel the swings hold true at market open? You will many times say, well, it can go either way. That's the thing, Dan, on your question. It can go either way. Okay. See, now, like this is right at the open right here, but are you actually looking at longs yet? Could you have taken a long down here like I talked about? Yeah, you can. But see how that kissed resistance? You'd pretty much be wanting to get ready to short this thing. And boxing it in, you could even be, when it goes underneath mid-band with the close of a bar, you could even take it. If this power meter goes red, you could take it. See how power meters are green right now? Now, keep in mind that the only reason that they're all 4 green right here is because of this low, and this is actually a lot of bars right here, and it's actually basically, trying to head up, and that's why those are green like that. Okay, let's see if we can get our little trade. Power meter will go red if we get it. Now, I would have already shorted this because I drew my lines on my chart, but we'll take it with power meter just to see. That should fire if that closes below that swing. Now, didn't you like the line better on the first part where we had our identified swing? See, that's too late to me. I don't like that trade. See what happens every time you take that trade like that? It bounces on you. Now, does it mean it's going to bounce very much? No. But the reason I don't like that trade is because when you identify your swings on your chart and you knew where they were, well, let's go ahead and draw them. I'm going to get rid of all this real quick. Let's draw them. Let's draw them from here. This is fine. Now we'll draw them from here. Okay. Now, basically, see, you didn't have an identified swing. Your identified swing's all the way up here. You can clearly see on the left. Did it take that out? No. It didn't take it out, right? So we were still looking for shorts. And even our background and everything was telling us we were looking for shorts. That's why you want to stay with the overall trend, everyone, okay? Because if you don't stay with the overall trend, unless you get in at the proper spot, you're not going to get good trades, okay? Now remember yesterday, being more aggressive, I just turned on bar close. You don't wait till clear up in here to get long, because what happened? It goes like, what, $20 in your favor, and then where was the trade? The trade was actually with the overall trend. Okay, now looking at this chart, if you missed this trade, what would you be looking for? Anybody? You'd be looking for a retrace, right? And predictor, yeah, somebody said predictor, okay. So what we're looking at, let's draw on our chart, and we're going to talk about retraces with the overall trend. I got a swing area right here at 1218.90, and I've got another one right here at 1218.50. Okay, now let's see where predictor says it's going to be, and we're going to actually add one if we can get a predictor, a white predictor. Should get one anytime. Anytime they start retracing, you'll see that white predictor will draw. No white predictor yet. There it is right there. Now, rather than just jumping in this thing, willy-nilly, would it be smart to actually, go ahead and wait for it to roll over? Well, it really depends, because looking at your lightning, did that get up to predictor yet? Not yet. Not yet. But well, too late. We didn't. When we're looking for these shallower retracements like this, we're looking for a break of line 2. Let's see if we can get another predictor. Otherwise, we'll just stay with the one. That's fine. If we get a predictor, we'll take it. I'm going to go ahead and move my target out of the way. Predictor saying right here at 1218 even. I'm just going to add one, though, if it touches my line there. See, that's also a little bit of lightning, but it's not identified just yet. No cigar yet. See how staying with the overall trend, though, will make you more money? Too many people will end up getting, well, they think it's already oversold or whatever, so they'll buy it. And where's the trade? The trade was exactly where we talked about. Now, like I said, that doesn't mean at the open, if you want to try some of these trades, like with the bar close, to give an example, and don't let it go against you, I found that to work pretty well, except with the equities. Too many times YM will just pop too quick, and you won't even get a fill. It's not even, it's too fast. Oil and gold is not so bad that way at all. See if we can get a little pullback. We could turn on predictor, sure. We'll do touch plus 2. Okay, this is an identified swing, and this is an identified swing as far as little lightning is concerned. Now, these are not 10 tickers. This is more your lightning 1. See how this is identified right here, and this is your secondary? That's where it should hit its head with a lower high, if we're going to head down. Let's see, lagging indicators would kill you in this type move. Oh, absolutely, Chuck. That's why we've developed everything we've developed based on price action. We got predictor turn on, but I don't think it's going to fire because it's past predictor. So I'm going to take it if it kisses that line. or predictor, one or the other. Now remember what our least retracement that you want if you're going to chase a trade on a short is line 2. We like to break stealth. There we go. That's awful close. That's close enough to me. And I'm going to put a tighter stop on it too, back to break even. And as soon as we get this swing identified, I'm going to go ahead and even put my stop here. Now, if you want to instead, you can actually box this. You know, like let's say that if I wanted to box this right here and go ahead and go, I've already added it because I didn't get that turned off. But see, that's in total of 3 now. Okay. Now, does anybody remember when I showed my gold trade this morning? Now, I didn't trade a long time last night because I just wanted to get a trade under my belt and then left for church and all that kind of stuff. But this thing could literally just head down all night. But, you know, when you get up in the morning, don't be so trend specific. You know what I'm getting at? In other words, the night session can drop this thing like a stone. And then, you know, they can take it up right at the open, to give an example. It might just be a fib retracement or something, but, you know, as a rule, they will change trends, and that's what they did this morning. Okay? Let's let this thing play out a little bit. Now, what if you weren't in this trade at all? Let's say that you're a European trader or something like that, okay? Keep in mind that what you want to do is you want to get these retracements at least. You've got to get some kind of retracement, otherwise you're chasing trades. You know, for instance, if you were to just say, you know what, this thing's heading down, I'm gonna just sell it right here. Well, more than likely, you probably just made a mistake doing that because you just sold at the low. Okay, so don't do that. If you're going to do that, then you've literally got to put your stop, you know, where you don't lose hardly any money whatsoever. You see what I'm getting at? Because if that was going to go down, it should have headed down. See what I mean? So what you want to do is you always want to wait for a pullback. So draw on your charts and see where your swing is, and you should be able to figure it out. You got a low, a high, a lower low, but not real low, but your swing is right across here. Everybody see that? So wouldn't you think that if we're going to head down again, that we'd probably test that? Well, let's see if we get it right at all. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit so we can see. That's 500 times, so that may go pretty fast. Got my line drawn on my chart, right? And keep in mind, if you're more of a conservative trader, wait for it to go ahead and at least do a little 1, 2, 3 reversal or something like that. Now, if this is going to head down, we expect it not to take out 12, 17, 20. Okay, because right here, that's resistance. So here's what we'd be looking at. If you got up in the middle of the night, you'd be looking for this, possibly a pullback, trend change green on your background and everything, and then possibly heading up. But if it doesn't take this out, we should get a rollover. Everybody see that? So let's see, if you were trading in the middle of the night, see what I was talking about chasing a trade? You don't want to do that. And if you ever do, just put a really tight stop just in case. And even that's going to cost you 50 bucks, more than likely. Okay, so let's see if we can get another trade. Trading with retrace and the overall trend. Look at your little chart again. And where's our identified swing? Look at that. Okay, let's look over here. See, we had a low, high, higher low, higher high. So this is another swing that it broke. It's already tested it. Okay, so midband is right up in here, isn't it? So we're looking for a midband type trade, and that's where it's almost at right now. Okay, so we'd be getting ready to take this trade, wouldn't we? What do y'all think? Don't let it go above here. Or if it does, box it in. And let's see if we can get a little trade. All right, looking to the left, I see support right across here. So I'm not going to go short on a breakout. I really want it to kiss this right here. That's where I want it. All right, if we don't get it, I guess we'll take this, but I don't really like it as much. But let's go ahead and see if we can get. We'll try to get touch +2 on that. Little yellow bar probe so far, isn't it? Didn't quite get up to mid-band yet either. Now I'd go ahead and tighten my box now that you've got a candle up, candle down. Will we get it? If you do, you have to put your stop over here. Is it going to break? That's 1 tick. 2 ticks. There it is. It's in. Okay, everybody see how I did that? And what you can actually do, of course, is just simply ride your runner. I'd leave my stop about where it's at, put it on exit on close just in case, because you don't want them just to wick you out. And I'd probably put a runner. And let's just see if we can get something on this. I'll fast forward a little bit. Not quite to the low. That's making me a little nervous right there. That's actually kind of trying to head up. You could actually put your stop right here, but we'll leave it, I guess. Let's just see if we can get something. Trust our swing. That was close. It's going to get us. Is it going to get us? Not yet, but I don't think it's through either. There we go. Red bars again, so I think we're okay. I'd go ahead and put the target on that down. Let's see. Yeah, right in through this area right here. And just let her ride. Everybody see how to do that? Now that's how you box in at mid-band, and you also draw on your charts. Now notice we haven't really missed a trade. Matter of fact, in the room this morning, I didn't call a single trade that was off. And Charles only hit one that was off. And it was a mid-band trade. Mid-band trades, the thing you got to be careful of is that, you know, when they get up to that mid-band and they get above it, there's always that chance they're going to change trends. Okay? But what's our rule of thumb, everyone? We don't want to go against the overall trend, right? Not unless we're just going to scalp. Because if you look at this chart right here, let's just put lightning 3 on it even. Let's just go ahead and do that. Get rid of the lines. Put lightning 3 on. And we'll put lightning 2 on this side. Okay. So you have a high, same high. So that's actually a high, low, lower high. No, it's the same high actually. So now you're just stair-stepping down. Until they take this out, they're not really heading out of this chop, but they have already taken it out. Everybody see that? Okay, so let's see where we're going on this trade. We still got 2 on. Notice how it hit that perfectly where that little swing was. Now, usually when I see that, I go ahead and click the button, but we weren't watching it, so that's fine. We'll leave it. Okay, now what if you were actually trading this and you said, you know what, I just got up, it's 2:30 in the morning, okay, maybe you're a night owl or maybe it's a European session type person. What would you do if you were going to actually trade this on a retrace? Anybody? Well, wouldn't you expect? I'd draw 2 lines on the chart. I'd draw one right there and I'd draw one right here. And if this was to actually come up above stealth and go back down through it, could that be a trade? Now, if it doesn't do that, you really need to wait for a deeper retracement than that. But, you know, if it kisses that line I've got drawn, if you weren't in anything, you could take that. Let's just see where it actually went. Now, what's the rule of thumb for everybody from now on? Not to chase a trade, right? If you're going to chase a trade, the only thing that I would recommend doing would be to box it in and actually take the trade and don't even let it go against you. See what I mean? Because if you were to put your stop all the way up here with like 2 contracts, that's a good 10 ticks. That's $200 loss. Now, this is chasing a trade right here, and I did it based on a box, but you wouldn't even let it literally just close back inside that box. Everybody see that? I did that mainly because I saw that they were actually kissing resistance up here and rolled over. But your safest trade is not to take this trade that I just took. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take those trades that actually retrace close to mid-band. Let's see if I'm missing any questions. Lewis, I didn't use the auto on it. You could actually. I mean, if you wanted to use like stealth or something like that. Like I said, I'm trying to still get that Phantom Trader built. But we're still in the process of building the Ninja 8. That's what we're actually in the process right now. Now, this is actually coming to a resistance area. See it right here? If you weren't in anything right now, could you take that trade from a resistance pop? And let's say that you were just getting up first thing in the morning. You put your stop right above that swing. Exit on close. Everybody see that? It kissed the resistance area. Now, is that a dangerous trade? Well, it's more dangerous than if you wait for it to break line 2 and then come back down through it, and even stealth. But when I see resistance kisses like that, and I've drawn my lines on my charts, you can actually take that trade. You just want to be careful that it actually goes your way. Okay, so if that pretty much goes back inside that box, I'd probably get out fairly quick. Let's see what it does. See what it does. See we're okay still on it. Okay, now when it's thrust like this, I don't recommend going back in on these quick resistance kisses, but if you did, it's right there. Everybody see it? But what if you weren't in anything? You're going to be looking for a mid-band type trade. So draw on your charts and see where it's going to be. What's that at? Like 1211 at the bottom right there? Let's see if we can get a retracement trade of any kind. We'll take it if we do. Okay, let's diagnose our chart real quick. Okay, you got a swing, high, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low. Primary lightning 1 swing, secondary lightning 1 swing right here. Everybody see that? Okay, so we don't expect it to take this out. So this is a sweet spot for oil, or pardon me, for gold, if it comes up there and kisses and doesn't take this out. Everybody see that? You want to see if it works? By the way, if it doesn't work, we'll get out fairly quick. I'm going to go mid-band, right, like that. Now, keep in mind, that's a little more aggressive, or you can simply wait for a little box. The little box is actually your better way to go, but keep in mind when you use the little box that you're going to have to, it's more like that lightning break is what it really is. It's very close to that. That actually kissed resistance right where I had my line drawn. I would have taken that trade for 10 ticks, but anyway. Everybody sees that, right? Right where my green box is, that was resistance. Doesn't mean it's going to take out those lows, but it would probably at least test them. Let's see if we can get a little trade here. Remember, we're not thrust traders, we're retrace traders. And if you had missed this trade, you've got to wait for the retrace into like mid-band. And draw on your charts and you'll know right where they're coming. Now, if they were going to go lower on this, we need a lower high than midband. See this little swing here? So we're expecting it just in this little box area right here because we want a lower high. There's another little predictor. See if we can get the trade. Now I'd go ahead and turn on that also. Just in case, see what I mean? Because we may not get this one, but we should get the little rollover. See, we got the little rollover instead. Everybody see how I did that? I was looking for the top first, so I just left the bottom turned off. Okay, let's go ahead and add. No, I don't want 5 though, I want 3. It is a lower high. You'll get 3 the moment that touches 2 ticks. There you go. Everybody see how to diagnose your charts now? Now watch if I draw lightning on this chart. You'll see it. Let's go ahead and look at it. Let's look at it on the black chart. That might even be a little bit easier. There we go. All right, so you had a high, low, lower high, so that was an identified swing, right? Then you had a high, low, not lower. You see what I'm getting at right here? So this was identified here just barely, so you could call that an identified swing, but not what I consider to be a good identified swing. This is your primary, or actually secondary, and this is a primary like so, okay? But you're not really, when you're looking at 4-range charts, you've got to really be concerned about the secondary swing, okay? Because we're looking at really small charts, 4-range charts. Okay, notice how that came up there and kissed our primary swing, or our identified swing, and then took it down. Okay, how far did this drop from the bottom? Let's see, you had 12.50 all the way down to 12.11. So that's more than 10 ticks, right? So that was our identified swing. And it never took it out, but it did roll. And if you look at your chart, you see that it did roll. Everybody see that? Let's see, can you explain how and when to use the T and B buttons? Well, that's what I was just showing just then, Lewis. But let's say, for instance, you're not in a trade at all just yet. Okay, let's see what time it is in the morning. First off, we got what, 5 o'clock in the morning? 5 o'clock. I don't get up till about 6-ish, sometimes 5-ish. But let's see if we can get a little retrace on this. You want to? We got flattened because we hit our targets, unfortunately. Let's see if we can get in another little trade. I'd be looking for a predictor kiss. See if we can get something there. Predictor kiss. Coming close. Don't want that there just yet. I want it right there. I will take it either way, but I want it at the top. This is boxing it in, and that's awful risky there because we've already gone down quite a bit. So you could even box it where it has to break this swing right here, but that'd be more of a breakout trade. Oh, there we go. We got it. We just got our 1. All right, let's move this and let's check our swing. We'll put it right above the swing. And I'm going to go ahead and add, if it breaks out of that box. There we go. Okay, see, that's the way you use those T and B buttons, Lewis, on your question. Notice how I used the T button because I wanted that trade up near the top, so I just turned off the B button. The B is the bottom of the box. The T is the top of the box. I was wanting the resistance kiss, but I was willing to take the break, okay? So basically what I did is I waited for it to go inside my little box before I turned this on. Okay, there's no way, unfortunately, to do that automatically at all. If there was, believe me, I'd have already figured it out and done it because I'd be talking to the programmer for sure. Everybody see that little trade? Not too shabby. By the way, this gold market overnight just dropped and dropped and dropped. Anybody remember it? What if you weren't in a trade just yet? Anybody? What do you think? Well, guess where I actually got in a trade this morning, because I actually showed it. Because this broke a trend line. You could actually even box it right here as far as that goes. This is a mid-band trade. Because I showed that this morning. Except I actually bought it right here and I showed it. Anybody remember that? And the reason I did it's because I just missed all this while I was sleeping. And then I thought, well, you know what? They shotgunned this thing down, because you saw it clearly shotgun. And so I just decided that I was going to buy it when it took out that little swing right across there. And I showed it in the room this morning too. Let's see, nice. I remember you taking all, not these past ones right here, because I was not up. I took this trade right here this morning when it broke this little line right here. Now keep in mind that what we're doing right now, we're short, but we're going to reverse it if it takes this out, because we're actually, well, for sure we're breaking a trend line. Everybody can probably see that. Even if you draw it like that, see right across those highs, you're still breaking that trend line. Let's speed this up a little bit. And I actually did it with a, like 3, because I like to do 3 and get some quick coin. By the way, you'll notice that Object Trader will reverse a trade, by the way. Okay, for instance, if you would have put a trend line here, it would have reversed the trade, would have reversed it on that line I just drew, and it'll reverse it if it goes 2 ticks out of the top of that box. Because remember, the T button's the top, the B button's the short, the bottom of the box, but I have that turned off, so it's inactive. Now this is where I pretty much bought it right here when I saw it bounce off that line right there. And then you can actually buy it, and then buy it if it takes out the top of the box. This is like we box in the room lots of times. Remember, I showed that trade this morning, but I got a better buy than that, even, because I got it right at 1203.60. How many times has anybody gotten up and noticed that the market literally just moved all night? And then you get up and you think, well, I'm going to short this if it goes to mid-band, and then that's when it retraces and goes up. Now, this was a very, very aggressive trade, keep in mind. Let me show you where you should take the trade should you decide to take this. Okay? You want to wait for the thrust and the pullback. Okay? Now, at the open of the market, when we open at like 8 o'clock, and then also even at 8:30, you can actually take this little trade if it breaks that box. Okay? Because that's more of a market type open. But what you want to really do, though, is look to the left to trade the right. And what you really want to do is you want to see it thrust up and pull back and kiss. And let's see if we can get that. Let's look to the left. Trade the right. We'll let it do its thing for just a minute and see. It's heading up, right? Now, is that a phantom trade? I found out more times than not when they shotgun them like they did early this morning that it's a good time to buy them. You know, just try it in sim at first, though, because, you know, you might be surprised. It actually works out pretty decently. But everybody see where the swing is? Let's say that you weren't in this trade just yet. Wouldn't that be a good area for you to probably jump in this trade? Will it even come down that low? Doesn't look like it's going to, does it? That's now identified swing, so I doubt if it's going to take it out. Until it retraces. Now there's your little phantom trade. If you happen to have 2 charts, you shorted line 7, you got yourself 10 ticks. Now remember, I was still long on this because I was trusting my support right where my line's at. Let's say you weren't even in this trade though, and you saw this happening right here. See, it broke stealth. See, it broke stealth, and it popped back up, pops above line 6. Could you actually buy that trade? Sure you could. Okay, because that's our minimum criteria for getting a trade after a thrust is for a long is into line 6 and break stealth. Remember, it has to break stealth. And you want it to break line 6. Okay? Now, what if you had missed this trade? Because Greg and some of our others actually got this trade a little bit later. Okay? And what did they do? Well, they actually got the trade on the pullback, right? That thing's going up pretty well. By the way, don't move a target when it's real close to another one because you can mess up Object Trader. Only move it when you don't have one in the way. All right, and then protect your coin at like line 6. And if it takes you out, it takes you out. Still bouncing so far, isn't it? Now, does everybody see a trade already setting up on this chart, though? Anybody? Because this one, I know in the room this morning, this was actually about 7 o'clock right here. But about the time I opened the room, we got a nice retracement. Now, if you were looking at this chart, let's say that you weren't even in a trade. We'll just kill this trade. We don't care. Let's diagnose the chart. Got a high, low, higher, high. Took out the low, so this is our low. This is your identified swing, right? Okay, so by looking at this, if they're going to head up, they're not going to take out 1205. And matter of fact, that'll more than likely get a lightning 3, but if it doesn't, you've still diagnosed your chart. See, that is your identified swing. Notice you have a high, a low. You don't really have a higher high. And if our rule of thumb is at least, 7 to 10 ticks, this is not a swing yet, but this is. Okay? So watch what actually happened when we opened the room. I'll show it to you. Is that a trade? Right off of mid-band? Is that actually a trade? It actually was, wasn't it? Now, we didn't even open the room until this time, but let's watch this. Could you have actually gotten in that trade there? Absolutely, you could. A lot of times they'll check them twice. See there how it gave you a higher low? Right there. Got to move your targets. Anybody remember this trade? That was about 7:30. Now keep in mind that gold then actually when we opened the market, they just kind of chopped around and everything. Sideways basically. And then they tried to shoot up, which see it did. All right, you move your target out of the way. You got your swing right here. Got one left on. You put your stop right at mid-band if you want. Just follow mid-band up. Mid-band up. You can use the trailing stop too. You can watch your power meter, and if it goes red, you can take it off. Not yet. Now, what direction are you looking at on this particular chart right now? Well, you got a perfect mid-band trade. This looks like that's going to take us out. We'll leave it at mid-band. Let's diagnose this chart, though. Does anybody remember what happened? Matter of fact, I think it happened pretty much after the room closed or really, really close to it. What's the overall trend on the chart? Overall trend. Still down, right? Well, we drew a little box earlier, but remember I decided not to take it because to me the identified swing on Lightning 3 is down here. Okay, let's go ahead and kill this trade. We don't care. And then we're almost through. Let's go ahead and get rid of Lightning 2. Now, does everybody remember in the room this morning, this is what gold was doing? Okay, but I don't trust just shorting this right here. That's just not my cup of tea, because that's what they usually do to you. They'll pop it down, they'll put it in your face. If you box it, you know, see how it just even popped up again? You don't want to just short like mid-band. You know, you've got to stay with the overall trend. And to me, until this actually breaks, you know, see you have a high, a low, a lower high. You need a lower low, and see you haven't gotten it yet. You know, and this would still be a very aggressive trade to me. I don't like it because you've got a phantom setting up. Okay? But if you do take that trade, you got to pretty much take it when it takes out the line. We did draw that in the room this morning. Okay? But to me, this trade with Lightning 3 did not break until it took out that swing. Everybody see that? Now, this was actually just pretty close to the room closing. We're about 45 minutes away. I did say in the room this morning, though, if you wanted to box this right here, you certainly could, because then you've got down to here to go. Okay? And that was like a 10-tick trade. And see, it did do it. See there? Remember that? We talked about that in the room this morning. But if you had missed this trade entirely, isn't there still, you know, for instance, if this breaks this support right here, you know, that's not a bad trade to me, you know, for instance, just to grab it if it breaks support. Okay? But even when it breaks support like that, it will usually just come right back in your face most every time, unless you get the fill right at the break. And notice how it just slammed it below it. Okay, and I even mentioned that in the room this morning, that, you know, they'll just slam it below these support levels. Okay, so if you weren't in this trade just yet, you'd pretty much be looking at that little micro swing right there, and you could actually get into it if it kissed that blue line. But see, they never even kissed the blue line that I remember. This thing was really in the mood to head down. Everybody see that? But do you know that after we closed the room, the same rule of thumb that we talked about, not chasing a trade? Let me just show you something. Not chasing the trade and waiting for the pullback. What's our rule of thumb? There it is right there. That's your identified swing. See it? Low, high, lower, low. Should not take that out if we're going to head down, right? So our job as traders is to get ready to trade that. Put a region on. I like to check a little swing to the left. That's decent enough for me right there. And if this actually goes above here and then comes back into my box, I'll also take it. And if it goes out the bottom of the box, I'll take it. Okay. Now, could this actually break to the upside? Well, this is not a long trade as of yet. Okay, because it would have to break this and come back and kiss it. And even then, it could just be a phantom type trade. Okay. But watch what it did after we closed the room. Kissed resistance, put a real tight stop, just in case. Okay, that's only risking 5 ticks. All right, then I'm going to turn this one off and turn that one on. And if it breaks my little box, I'm going to add 1. Okay? Does anybody remember trading this after the room closed? Because you can absolutely wait for these thrusts and retraces. Trading with the retrace and the overall trend will make you the money that you'll want each and every day when you're trading. And if you stay with the overall trend, you know, for instance, what would it take to change this trend right now? Well, you'd have to break above, pull back and kiss, consolidate around mid-band, and then take off. And then I'd be concerned that I had a phantom, so I'd be watching it just in case it rolled over. Okay? And let's go ahead and play this out for this is about 10:50. Let's just play it out for the rest of the day. I'm going to get these targets out of the way, because don't do that, by the way. If you ever drag your stops like that, I'm probably going to get stopped out because I lost my stop, didn't I? Yeah, you don't want to do that. I lost my indicator. So if you do something like that, I would probably close it and then even just re-enter it, simply because you got to have that stop with your broker. Okay. What I did though is I dragged this. See if that turns blue like that down at the bottom. If you let that go, then that puts that target into a different panel. So you don't want to do that. Same thing with up here. You don't want to see there that blue little box forming up there at the top. You don't want to do that because it'll put it in a second panel. Okay. Let's look at this, and everybody tell me when and if the trend changes on gold. We'll just play it out for the rest of the day. And by what I've taught so far, you tell me if the trend changes. We're not going to care. Let's just get the stop out of the way for right now, because I want to just see. I'll do it manually if I see it take me out. But I'm moving it at 500 times because I want you to tell me if we get a trend change. You could take it out. See, it just went to power meter. That's another yellow bar probe just rolled over. Did the trend change? Anybody? So let's diagnose our chart just real quick. I'm going to slow it down again. When would the trend change on this chart? You have a high, low, much lower low. That's definitely the identified swing right there. Everybody see that? That's your identified swing. This is a low, this is a high, this is a lower low, but how much is that swing identified by? Only like 3 ticks or 2 ticks. So that is not an identified swing. Okay, so if this was going to head up, I would expect it to break this at least to start stair-stepping up and then come back and kiss it and change backgrounds and everything. Let's see if it did it. I'll fast forward it again. Chop it around sideways. Did that change trends? No. See how it just kissed an unidentified swing? Now keep in mind, I could have taken this off the table because we're giving up a lot on it, but I just want to show you that the trend has not changed. Everybody see that? Learn to see your identified swings on your chart, and you'll make a world of difference in your trading. Because to me, if this is going to head up at all, now we've got a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. Did it take the swing out by 10 ticks? 120 to 80, no, 6 ticks. So I'm not looking for a trend change still yet, right? Matter of fact, we're still looking for, this is my identified swing right here, and you need a lower high if they're going to head down. So I'd be looking for a trade right in this area for a short, unless they decide to thrust, get a green background, pull back and kiss a support area, and then take off. And we don't have that yet. Anybody have any final questions before we wrap? We ran about 8 minutes over. Shopping brokers, anyone pass the combo, Peter, on your question? The 350 one is 15 contracts. That's the $150,000 one. That's the one you're on. Is that right? I don't know of people that have passed that particular one. I've talked to several people that have passed the 50. I don't recommend as much the 25 because $500, if you traded 2 contracts on oil, you could accidentally get blitzed for $500 pretty easily and still make a good day. But $1,250 is a good pullback. And a $50,000 account will do that. Okay, hope everybody enjoyed the webinar. It was recorded. And we'll trade just like this again tomorrow. We hit 90+% on our trade calls today, just doing this exact type of diagnostics. Okay? Because what you got to do is you got to realize, until they change trends, you want to really be shorting Okay. Now, real quick before we go, let me just show you Russell after we close the room, just real quick. Anybody remember Russell? This is when we close the room, right in here. Does everybody see that you had support, and then they even had this support as they did this phantom? So when they broke this support here, you know, and then rolled over, could you take that trade? Yeah, you can take that. And keep in mind, just like I was saying, if you box them in, you know, like even below support, to give an example, something like that, don't let it go back against you. Okay. And then look at that beautiful rollover at mid-band, just the way we teach it all the time. Okay. And then, of course, you saw that had a phantom trade really close to one. When does this change trends? Anybody? Right this very moment, you can kind of see that they're still heading down. You got to swing right across here, like so. Whoop. Come on, draw. Now like so. Now like so. I'll go with that one. Like so. Starting to get a little bit of momentum to the upside maybe. Everybody see that? And then look what happened with Russell. But what did it do? Anybody? It thrust up and it pulled right back on top of support. And look at that beautiful mid-band kiss, just the way we teach it. So, you know, rather than going long when any of these are, you know, retracing or whatever, aren't you really waiting for it to break and get a higher low and you start breaking? Even if you box these in, be careful with that, because let's say that you box this in like right here at the time. All right, and you were looking for shorts or longs. Well, you already got this one, so you probably wouldn't be looking for another short. But what if you got this and it just barely got you into the trade and then pull back down below or something like that? That can happen. But isn't the better trade to look at lightning, draw it on your chart? And so what did they do? They thrust up and they pulled right back on top of lightning. See it right there? Right on top of an identified swing from earlier. Right on top of it. And our mid-band catches that type of thing. Okay? So let's trade with the overall trend and get these nice retracements. Okay? Everybody have a great evening, and thanks for coming. Sorry I ran about 12 over.